Okay, welcome to today's afternoon of Aging Strong. Today we're going to do some stuff to focus on the mid of the body. So we're going to focus on the hips and the pelvis and the core, and we're going to do that with some stabilization and some flow work both on the floor and standing today. So hopefully at the end you're going to feel a good feeling of vitality and maybe a little relaxation and some stability and balance in your body. So as we start today, we're actually just going to start in what they call constructive rest position. And I'm going to move back just a little bit to demonstrate this for you. Very simple, basic posture. We're going to start on the floor on our backs. And I'll move these so that they're not in the way. You're going to keep your knees bent with your feet flat to the floor. You see, I just have my hands here behind me for support. Giving yourself support from your arms, you're just going to come down to your back. And then here you can adjust your feet and legs accordingly. So you see I walked mine towards my body a little bit and I went a little bit wider. For me, that just creates a little more feeling of stability in my pelvis and especially in my sacroiliac joints. You might find that you need to keep your legs and feet a little more narrow for a better feeling. You might find that you need to go even a little bit wider in that distance than I did. So take a moment here to start by playing around a little bit between the distance in your knees and feet. And I am going to invite you today to whatever position you place your feet in to match your knees there. Right, I know sometimes we start in knock-kneed pose with our feet wide, knees together. But today I'm going to request that wherever you start your feet, place your knees in that same point or that same plane. And then once you get your feet adjusted so that your pelvis feels stable and your low back is at ease, take your arms almost to the height of your shoulders. So almost out to 90 degrees. I'm probably about 75 or 80 degrees. Palms turned up towards the ceiling. Now from here, we're actually going to start with this little bit of, I don't know what to call it. There might be a more official name. I'm just going to call it a little shimmy movement, right? That's the official yoga term for today. So what you're going to do is you're going to start to press down into your feet and see if you can kind of get your body to you're not rolling, but kind of scooch forward and back along the mat. And this is just kind of moving the skin and the fascia at the back of my body here. And I primarily feel it like in the trunk part of my body, but I can also feel a little bit in my arms. I have a lot of hair, so I really feel it at the back of my skull. You might too. And you're just gonna let that movement get a little smaller, a little slower for the next few moments. And then eventually you'll stop that conscious movement and allow the movement to bring the body to rest. And once the body comes to rest, you might choose to soften your gaze or close your eyes fully if you have not already. And as you bring your body to the still point at the beginning of the practice, take a moment just to bring more awareness to the sensation of your breath. And without trying to change the experience or the quality of your breathing right now, simply feel how quickly you're breathing, how slowly you're breathing. The range of movement through your body as you inhale, the range of motion and sensation as you exhale. And now begin to slowly take more air on the inhale and release a little emptier on the exhale. As you bring more volume of air into the body, start to perhaps feel greater motion or range of movement through the backside of your trunk, through your ribs, through your belly. Feel the drawing together and inward of your ribs, the belly towards the spine, spine to the belly as you release the breath out. Allow the breath to deepen and to move a little more slowly, controlling the breath, but not in such a controlling way that it begins to create a feeling of rigidity or angst or disharmony in the breath. Instead, each breath becomes an invitation for greater fullness, greater expansiveness. Each time we breathe in and breathe out, we create this cycle of surrender and release. The next time that you reach the top of an inhaling breath, pause with your breath held in for just a moment. Before you exhale, rotate your head towards your left shoulder and then pause here, exhale the breath and inhale the breath. Hold the breath in for a moment. Roll your head now towards your right shoulder or arm. Exhale and inhale once you rotate to the right side. On the top of that inhale, pause, rotate head to the left again. Release here. Inhale. Rotate back to the other side. Exhale and inhale. Continue through this simple cycle of movement and breath until you've rotated to your right side one last time. When you rotate to your right side again, that will be the completion of your cycle. At the end of that inhale, bring your head back to center. Take your awareness all the way out to your palms and your fingertips. Bring your thumbs and index fingers to meet on each hand so you feel the fingerprints making contact with one another. Take a deep, full breath the next time you inhale and hold your breath in. Now exhale with a big sigh through the mouth. Let the natural rhythm of your breath resume and take your hands and fingers and start to wiggle your fingers and open and close your fist. The next time that you bring your palms into a soft fist, stay there. Bend your elbows to lift your hands and forearms off the floor. And now take your wrist into some little opposing circles. And then circle back the other way. Release the motion from the wrist. And now bring your hands and arms, palms down by your two sides. We're going to start to establish a flow here on the floor. As you inhale, sweep your arms up towards the ceiling and bring them to your head. As you exhale, pull your arms forward, draw your left knee in. Finish off your exhale by hugging your thigh to belly. Inhale, place that foot to the floor, arms up by your head. Exhale, right leg pulls in. Finish off the breath by squeezing the thigh to ribs. Inhale, foot down, arms up. Exhale, left leg in, give it a squeeze. Continue flowing at your own pace. Use the inhale to move the body gracefully through space. Use the exhalations to release tension through the low back, through your hips. The next time that you reach the point that you're holding your left leg, stay there. You can hold your leg either around the shin. If it would feel more comfortable, take hold at the back of your thigh here. You don't have to hold around your shin. Now start to point and flex your left foot and ankle. And then take that motion into circles. Circle back. Release the motion of your ankle. Inhale, arms up towards your head, foot to the floor. Exhale, other leg in. Hold that leg to trunk, stay there. Again, you can hold the shin behind the back of the thigh, whatever feels best. Take that foot into pointing and flexing. And then take the pointing and flexing and make it a circle. And circle back. And release that motion of the ankle. Inhale, foot down, arms up by your ears. Good. Exhale. Now pull both legs in, catch both shins or behind both thighs. Again, either way. You can keep your knees relatively straight over your trunk. You could also separate your hands and knees wide in the inner legs. That's going to give a different lengthening, different muscles here. Whatever you do with your legs, you can stay a little static or you could take a little movement, rock side to side. And if you're exploring any motion here, come back to a still point. Keep your left leg over your hip. Lower your right foot to the ground with your knee bent. Straighten your leg and put your foot up towards the ceiling. You do not have to straighten your knee all the way. Don't worry about that part so much because we're actually going to do a little core work here. Take your arms back down to the floor, palms by your sides. Again, use the rhythm of your breath because this is a flow, right? We're establishing physical movement with breath movement. Inhale, lower that leg straight down towards the floor. Exhale, lift the leg up. Now, don't worry so much about getting the leg to the floor or getting it back up to a certain point. Use the leg motion as a way to connect more deeply with your breath. As I lower the leg, when does the breath stop? When does the leg stop? As I lift the leg, when does each stop? Notice if your leg is rushing in front of the breath, lingering behind the breath. Right? Flow is not just about motion and breath together. It's also a state of mind. It's an attitude. It's a quality. Good. One more movement here. The next time you lift the leg, grab hold at the back of your thigh. Again, the knee does not have to fully straighten, but do press your heel up towards the ceiling. Now feel the flow of in-breath and out-breath. Allow that flow to be moving through your body with gentleness and ease. Next, exhale, bend the knee, place the foot to the mat. Pause here just to feel the reflection of that motion and then the stretch through that first leg. Into the socket of the hip, the crease of the hip, the back of your hip, the sacrum, the low back. Stack your other knee over your hip and start to elevate your foot towards the ceiling. Again, only extend that knee as much as it feels safe for you to do so. Moving at your own rhythm, inhale breath lowers the leg towards the ground. As soon as your inhale is complete, start to lift the leg during the exhale. When your exhale is complete, quit moving. Inhale, lower the leg. See how deep of a connection can you create between the motion of your leg and the flow of your breath. Use that rhythm to focus the mind, to permeate every cell of the body, and to begin to create that quality of fluidity and ease throughout our entire experience. Two more cycles of breath. The next time that leg is lifted, catch the back of the thigh. Again, knee can be somewhat bent, it can be fully extended. Either way, press your heel towards the sky, draw toes towards your heart, and let the mind be captured by the rhythm of your breath. Gentle flow in, gentle flow out. Next exhale, slowly come out of that stretch by bending your knee and release your foot to the mat. Again, feel the effects of the movements of the stretch through that side of your body. All right. Grab your block or whatever you're using to simulate your block. So I have a yoga block here. If you don't have a yoga block at home, you could grab a good book. A hardback book would probably be best, and something with a little story with it, right? Nothing like you know, nothing wimpy. We want something good like War and Peace or Mahat Bara or something like that. All right, so you're gonna take whatever you're using for your block and you're gonna place it between your two thighs, right? So I just placed it between my two thighs. And when you do that, your knees and your ankles and feet should be relatively hip distant wide. Now, depending on what you're using, you might have to change the orientation, right? If I change my orientation of my block, my legs and feet go more narrow. If I change it again, they go a little wider. If I change it again, they go even wider. That last setting is too wide. So once you have that set, you're actually going to come back down to the floor, just like we have started. And we're going to start to add a little more flow movement here. So block between your legs, feet and ankles and knees, all matching that same distance. Feel the soles of your feet to the floor. Hug the block between your thighs. On an inhale, draw your pubic bone towards your belly button, squeezing that block between thighs, start to elevate your hips a little, and then slowly lower back down. Now I'm turning to give you my attention. I'm turning my head, but please, you keep your head neutral with your gaze towards the ceiling. Now, a couple notes here. There's going to be two areas that might impact how much you feel like you can move here. One area is the low back. So you may or may not feel like you're getting good motion or mobility through your low back. Another place that we want to be mindful of is actually the neck. As we lift our pelvis, it puts a little more strain and pressure on our cervical spine. So please be mindful, even if you can get your hips real high because you have that mobility in your low back, you don't want to cause strain in your neck if you don't have that same mobility in your middle back, which most of us don't, right? Middle back is not designed to be super mobile. All right, just a few more breaths here. So the next time that you lower down to the floor, pause there. Now keep that item between your legs and stack your knees straight up over your hips. So you see, I didn't pull my legs way back like we were doing before. I really keep my sacrum level to the ground so that I'm really stable through my pelvis. My hips are about 90 degrees, knees, I'm gonna try to get them to about 90, feet dorsiflex, right? My feet aren't limp. I've got my toes pulling back. All right, arms to the floor by your sides, family, head neutral. Again, I keep turning to look at you. You please protect your neck. Give yourself a nice little squeeze on that block. This is not going to be a big range of motion, okay? As you inhale, keep that bend in your knees. Start to lower the back of your heels towards the floor. We're not trying to touch down. Lift your knees back up. What we're working on here, good, go ahead again. Inhale, lower the heels towards the floor and lift your legs up. What we're doing is maintaining pelvic stability here, right? There's a point where my pelvis wants to start to kind of tilt and follow my legs. Don't let that happen. You're only moving within the range where the strength of your core can maintain the stability of your pelvis. Good, two more movements here. All right, my friends, next time you lift, take away the block. Lower both of your feet back down to the floor. Now go ahead and widen your feet so that they go to the long edges of your mat. You might want to slide your arms out again towards T position, and now let your knees windshield wiper side to side. Keep your feet nice and wide here. You could add some head rotation here if you would like. Your head can follow your knees. Your head can go opposite your knees. All right, next motion, we're going to use it as a transition. So whatever direction you feel safe to do so, roll completely over onto your side. From here, use the upper hand and arm to lift your torso up and away from the floor. And we're going to start to make our way into a table position from here. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to, right, because flow is relative, right? Flow is a quality, it's a way of being, it's about connecting our vital body, which is our breath, with our physical body, which is our movement, right? Our asana and our movement. And so as we start to go through this part of our practice, I'm just going to invite different ways to find your flow, so to speak. All right. So we're going to start at the basic table position, arms under shoulders, knees under hip, what we call neutral table. Now you move with your breath. Use the inhale to carry the spine and pelvis one direction, and exhale to move the opposite direction. So you'll just start with a simple cat lift and cat tuck here. It does not really matter if you're inhaling on the cat lift or exhaling on the cat lift. One might feel better, one might feel more intuitive, one might feel more fluid. Now, keep your flow here if this is what feels most appropriate for you today. If you want to come into a little bit more dynamic movement, the next time that you round your spine, pull your left knee forward towards your nose and then take the leg back behind you. Again, you're going to motion the body with the breath. Everything working together in tandem to create that flow of harmony within. You can stay here for your flow. If you want to add just a little more dynamic movement, a little more core strengthening, the next time that leg motions back, take your right arm forward. Bring elbow and knee to touch underneath, right? So I've just given you 3 depths or places to play with your flow. Choose one, choose all, anywhere in between. 3 more cycles of breath. All right, wherever your flow is, bring your hand to the floor, knee to the floor, resume table. Start back to your basic flow. Cat tuck and cat lift, following the motion of your breath, any direction that you choose. If you want to build the flow from here, next time you're coming into cat tuck, right knee moves forward and then leg extends back. Again, moving one direction with the breath, the next direction with the next cycle of breath. Aligning the vital body with the physical body, the mental and emotional bodies. Again, stay here for your flow if you wish. Add a little more complexity. Left arm forward, elbow, knee touch underneath. Two more cycles of your flow. And then hand and knee come back to their origin position and back to your original movement. Right? Feel how The tide moves out, it moves in. The waves get larger and smaller. The ebb and the flow of the breath. Next motion, resume neutral table position. From here, tuck your toes under. Simple transition to stand. Walk your hands back towards your legs. Lift your knees and very carefully and slowly start to make your way up to your feet. All right, and once we've come to the feet, go ahead and take a moment for now, just orient any way you want. If you're using your mat, it's not going to matter too much. Place a little distance between your feet and your legs. Knees are soft. We're going to start to move a little more energy, right? The more we open the body, the more the energy can flow. We're going to start relatively small here, and I'm going to offer an opportunity or two to build and make everything just a little bit bigger. You go where you want to go. So 3-part inhale through the nose, 1 part in exhale through the mouth, breath of joy. You might be familiar with this. You're going to inhale a third, arms forward. Inhale a third, arms out. Inhale a third, arms all the way up. And then exhale through your mouth with a little ski jump. Right? And I'm going to orient this way. I'm not going real deep here, yeah? And then inhale, 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 exhale. Now, if you want to build a little more energy, crank up the speed a little bit. But be careful, you don't want to fall out of balance. If you want a little bit more of a workout, start taking a bigger jump, right? That ski jump at the end on the exhale. Three more breaths. Last one. All right, stand up, reach your arms towards the ceiling. Take your hands and wrist into a couple circles. Circle back. And release that motion. Let your arms come to your sides and take a moment just to feel the reflection of that movement. Maybe there's a little more heat or warmth. Maybe there's a feeling of blood rushing through the body, breath moving in. All right, grab your block or your simulation. We're gonna place this bad boy right between the thighs again, just like we did when we were on the floor. Now, it's just like what we did on the floor, but maybe different. When I'm standing, I actually need my legs spaced a little bit differently than when I'm doing something like when I was on the floor. So when I was on the floor, I was more oriented this way, which felt, well, that was crooked, but felt good for me there. But when I'm standing, I need to come a little more narrow. So you can play around and see what works for you. Once you have your block established, again, look down, make sure that your ankles are right under your knees, right? Everything's the same distance apart based on this block. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Pull your shoulders together behind you and then draw the shoulder blades down your back and rotate your palms forward. Now start to draw your inner thighs to that block. And as you did that, notice if you just pronated on your feet, right? You just come to the big toe side of your feet. And if you did, press down through the pinky toe side, but without losing that connection, inner thighs to block. And then inhale, sweep both of your arms out and up towards your ears. Let your palms unite and then bring your hands to your heart. Keep the squeeze. Soft knee, hinge at your pelvis, come forward, half fold. Press down through your feet, squeeze your thighs, lift all the way up. Take your palms up towards the ceiling, still touching, and then release out to the sides, down, palms forward, and pause. All right, so that's going to be our foundation flow, and we're going to add a little bit to it each time that we go through. We're using the block to help create a nice line of stability up through our pelvis and into our sacroiliac joints. All right, so now following the breath, inhale, float your arms out and up, palms unite, exhale, hands to heart. Take a breath in. Exhale, hinge forward halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Inhale, press down into your feet, flat back, lift up. Lift your hands up and exhale, arms down and pause. We'll go through the foundation one more time. Inhale, arms up. Palms unite, exhale, hands to heart. Inhale here. Exhale, hinge forward halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Inhale, plant through the feet, flat back, lift up. Lift your hands up overhead, exhale, arms out and down. Good, inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart, stay here. Inhale, this time, bend your knees, press your hips back, little squat. Good, exhale, stand up. Come forward, half fold. Press down and lift up. Take your arms straight up. Exhale, out and down. Beautiful. Inhale, arms out and up. Palms unite, exhale to heart. Inhale, squat. Exhale, go straight to half fold. Now stay here. Stay in your fold. Take your right arm out to T position. Take your left arm out to T position. Press down through your feet. When you start your inhale, flat back, lift all the way up. Arms float up overhead, close out the same way. Exhale, hands down. All right, so we're going to add a little bit more to that. We're going to start with our foundation. Palms forward. If you felt like you need to go ahead and adjust that block and you haven't already, then go ahead and make yourself a little adjustment. Again, hug the thighs in towards the block, but don't let that bring all the weight or too much of the weight towards the big toe sides, right? If I push in too much, I roll to the insides of my feet and that strains my inner knee. So that balance between anchoring down through the outside of the foot and squeezing through the inner edges of the block. All right, inhale, arms up. Palms unite, hands to heart. Bend your knees, a little squat. Good, and come forward, half fold. Left arm out to T position. Right arm out to T position. One more breath here. When you begin your inhale, flat back, press down, lift up. Arms are going to float up. And then arms float back down. All right, here we go, family. Arms up. Palms unite and come to squat. Come to half fold. This time, take out both arms to T position, airplane position. Take one more breath here. Different transition. Lower your arms, take the block out, place it in front of your feet, and maybe fold forward a little more, hands on your block. Take one more breath here. Keep your hands on your block. Take one large step back with your right foot so that you come into a scissored stance. Both of your knees are straight, all 10 toes, both knees forward. I just move my block so that you can see my legs. Leave your block on the floor. Take your arms out wide to the sides. Push down through your feet, flat back. Lift all the way up. Arms are at T once you come standing. Bring your arms behind you. Bend elbows. Clasp opposite forearms. Draw your shoulder blades together behind you. See if you can broaden across your collarbones. Feel the upward movement of air through your body, the release of tension, the space of openness. Next, inhale, take your arms out to T position. Flat back, move at your pelvis, hinge forward to about 90 degrees. Take your hands back to your block or your simulator. Step your right foot forward so that your feet are side by side. Take your left leg back now for a scissored stance. Again, make sure all 10 toes, both knees, both hips are forward. Root into your feet, leave your block on the floor, arms wide, flat back, all the way up. Arms are at shoulder height once you come to stand. Take your arms behind you, bend elbows, clasp opposite elbows or forearms. Draw the arms together behind you. Imagine, don't really move your arms, but imagine that you were trying to pull your elbow tips in opposite directions. Lift through the breath. Feel the flow of ease within. Take your arms out to T position. Flat back, move at the pelvis, come forward about halfway. Take your hands to your block and step your back foot forward to meet your front. Keep your block on the floor, both arms wide like T's. Flat back, lift all the way up. Let your arms float up to the top and end right back where we started all that while ago. Arms by your side, palms forward. And pause here just to feel the motion and the reflection of your breath. Inhale, take your arms out to the sides and up, palms unite, bring your hands to your heart. Exhale, hinge halfway forward, half fold. Take your hands down to your block. Bend your knees as much as you need to get your hands to the floor. Step back with either foot, doesn't matter which one. Bring that knee to the ground behind you and then step back with your other leg coming into table position. Bring your hands under your shoulders, kneecaps under your hips. Align the body and breath. Come back to very simple movement, cat tuck and cat lift. You might find after that standing flow that the range of motion is bigger through the subtle body or the physical body. You might find that the feeling of space is different in the subtle or physical body. 2 more cycles of breath and of movement. Next motion, come back to a neutral table position. From here, start to walk your hands and arms forward and make your way down onto your belly. Now, if you have any discomfort when you come down onto your belly, you're going to grab maybe a little blanket or a big towel. And you'll create a little fold as I'm doing here. This is a pretty big blanket, so I'm not going to make the fold real small. And that blanket or that cushion is going to go underneath your pelvis, kind of between your top of your hip creases and your belly button. And that will help take out some of the curve in your low back if you feel any discomfort in your low back when you come lying down. And then once you get here, just take a moment, stack your hands underneath your forehead. And then I'm lifting my head so that you can hear me, but you're going to keep your head down. Bring your legs together as closely as you comfortably can. They don't have to touch, just get them as close as you can comfortably. Once you've done that, bend both of your knees. And now let your feet dangle side to side. And let the feet make their way back to the middle, and then lower your feet and legs back down to the mat. Now, if you want, take a little space between your feet and legs again. I like a little space between mine. Prop up onto your right arm. So I just propped up onto my right forearm. My elbow is relatively just underneath my shoulder. Bend your left knee. Couple options. You can stay just like this with your left knee bent. This might be plenty of sensation on the front of that thigh. If you want something a little deeper, take a belt or take your hand and grab hold of your left foot or your left ankle. Now, if you decide to bind here, right, either with a belt or your hand, please make sure that you don't create any pain, pulling, or pinching in your low back. Yeah. Draw the front of your hip down towards the floor gently. Now, you can get in a little shoulder stretch here on this left shoulder too, if you want. Keep drawing the front of the hip towards the floor. Start to take your left foot away from your body. Make sure that the thigh doesn't lift when you do that, right? But if I just start to straighten my knee a little bit, it gives me a little more openness here on the front of the shoulder. All right, one more breath. If you have some kind of bind, belt, or hand, very carefully let go. Don't slingshot that poor foot back to the earth. And then switch arms. Left elbow under your left shoulder. Bend your right knee. Maybe you stay here. This could be plentiful for you, right? We don't always do the same thing on both sides. You could loop a belt around your foot or ankle. You could take hold with your right hand. Draw the front of your hips and pelvis down towards the floor. Again, I can get a little more stretch on the front of the shoulder if I start to straighten my knee. If I straighten my knee too much, though, it can create compression in my, like the lower thoracic spine, upper lumbar, like right at the bottom of your rib cage. Be very careful. Right, we don't want to do anything in the physical body that disturbs the flow of the vital body, the breath. Next exhale, or the one after that, very carefully release that foot or your belt. Take that foot back down to the mat. Now, both elbows underneath both shoulders, forearms are now parallel with one another, setting up for a little sphinx here. Press down into your palms and your elbows. See if by rooting that part of your body to the floor, if you can get a little more lift, right? I can be on my elbows and I can be hanging out here, and look at how much I've really constricted the space here in my shoulders, right? If I create a little more meaningful contact between my body and the floor and between my breath and my chest, I can create a little more space here for myself. Now, imagine that you're pulling your elbows and hands back towards your ribs. Imagine a broadening collarbone for 2 more breaths. When that second breath is complete, go ahead, let your elbows go out to the side, stack hands again, and bring your forehead to your hands. Bend both of your knees. This time, legs are probably a little wider. Windshield wiper feet side to side. Bring your feet to the middle and then lower your feet and legs to the mat. From here, we're going to make a very simple transition. You are simply going to roll over onto your back. So you can keep your same orientation as you are and simply roll over onto your back. Once you get onto your back, please bend your knees and bring the soles of both feet to the ground. Take your arms out to T position with your palms flipped up towards the ceiling. So we're starting almost, or coming back to almost where we started. Now from here, cross your right ankle in front of your left thigh. Rotate your face towards your right arm. And now let both knees drop towards the right side of your mat. If you need a little support underneath that right leg, go ahead, grab your blanket, your pillow, your towel, and place it underneath that right thigh. And now bring your awareness to the flow of your breath. And feel the movement of air in and out through both nostrils. And now move your awareness from the flow of the breath through both nostrils to holding all of your awareness just to your right nostril. That's the top one. And let all of your attention be with just the right nostril and the air moving in and out through that side. Feel the quality and the volume of movement as air and energy and vitality move through the energy channels on that side of your body. The next time that you reach the top of an inhaling breath, pause with your breath held in. Release out through the mouth. Roll your head back to the neutral point. Bring the sole of the right foot back, to left foot back to the floor, and uncross, bringing both feet to the mat. And feel the reflection of space that was just created through the left side of your body. Cross your left ankle in front of your right thigh. Rotate your face towards the left arm. Bring both knees towards the left side of your mat. Again, grab the blanket, grab a pillow or a block, place it underneath that bottom leg as you need to. Maybe the gaze cast out over the horizon, maybe your eyes close. Feel the movement of your breath through both nostrils. The quality, the volume, the pace. Move your awareness from air flowing through both nostrils to air flowing through the left nostril. Diverting all of your awareness and intention to the left nostril. Let the movement of air create that quality of flow and peace within. The next time that you inhale, pause at the top. Gentle release to the mouth. Bring head neutral, legs, hips, and pelvis neutral. And then both feet release to the mat. And feel the body releasing its weight and tension that might remain towards the earth. Feel the sweetness to the flow of your breath. Allow the eyes to soften or close for just this final moment as we integrate all the subtle energies and the breath of our practice. Begin to bring a little more volume to the breath, air to the body. Feeling the flow of grace and ease and harmony within. The next time that you reach the top of your inhale, pause with your breath held in. Release out with a little sigh through the mouth. Slowly and carefully roll over to either side to come off of your back. Take support and lift your body away from the floor and come to comfortably sit. Take any support that you would like under your pelvis and hips, spine tall, breath flowing and gentle, heart open. Let the eyes soften forward or close and bring your palms to unite at the heart. Feel the qualities of being within your body. The quality of spaciousness within the mind. Wholeness and peace within. Take a slow inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth as a final release of letting go anything that does not serve you, either from this practice or from your day-to-day life. Feel that peace within. Om Shanti, Jai Shanti, Jai Bhagwan. Thank you for being here today for Aging Strong. I appreciate you taking time to join me today and to commit to your self-care and to your vitality. Thank you so much.